Holy shit, there's a lot of really cool looking games coming to the Nintendo Switch in October 2020. Let's get into it. Let's kick things off with a game called Liege Dragon, releasing October 1st, digitally only for $14.99. In Liege Dragon, an evil dragon has come back to life and set out to find the dragon tools of the three heroes so that you can face the dragon and save the world. Some of the features of Liege Dragon include fights with hordes of monsters using a turn-based battle system, learn new skills with sorcery stones, unison abilities that can be triggered as a team attack, quests, weapon upgrades, and a monster guide to fill out. This looks to be a pretty solid old school style 16-bit RPG that may scratch that itch of the SNES RPG days. So get ready for some nostalgic and epic 16-bit RPG action when Liege Dragon releases on October 1st. Also on October 1st is a game called Nubarron, the Adventure of the Unlucky Gnome, releasing digitally only for $9.99. Nubarron is a 2D puzzle platformer about a gnome and his cloud, and it takes place in a gorgeous digitally painted world filled with beautifully orchestrated music. The story is a dark fairy tale where as the gnome you set out to find your lucky hat, which leads into a much grander adventure. You will be platforming your way through the world and using your cloud to shoot lightning for defeating enemies and solving puzzles, and there will be intense boss fights as well. This looks to be a pretty neat puzzle platformer, and you can check it out when Nubarron, the Adventure of the Unlucky Gnome releases on October 1st. Again on October 1st is Ys Origin, releasing digitally only for $19.99. I absolutely love the Ys series, and they are fast-paced, epic action RPGs that are just so much fun to play. Ys Origins features 3 playable characters with their own powers and skills, a ton of awesome environments, 4 different game modes being Story, Time Attack, Arena Mode, and Speedrun Mode, an option to adjust blood level, several relics and artifacts to find and utilize, a beautiful art style, incredible soundtrack, and super epic boss battles. If you like action RPGs, you really can't go wrong with Ys Origins when it releases on October 1st. Again on October 1st is a budget title on the list called Candy Raid the Factory, releasing digitally only for $4.99. Candy Raid the Factory is a budget title, and it is a retro-style top-down exploration puzzle game. Candy Raid the Factory features awesome retro pixel art graphics, family-friendly puzzle action-adventure gameplay, a ton of distinct puzzles, each with a sweet award, 3 unique areas to explore, and you will use the elements to solve puzzles within these areas. Candy Raid the Factory looks like a pretty fun little budget puzzle game, and you can check it out when it releases on October 1st. And lastly on October 1st is Super Mario Bros. 35, which will be free to Nintendo Switch Online members. Unfortunately, if you're not a Nintendo Switch Online member, at this time you won't be able to play the game. Super Mario Bros. 35 is the OG Super Mario Bros. Game with a massive twist. You will be playing at the same time as 34 other opponents in their own instance of the game, and you will be trying to be the last Mario standing. Now I'm going to read this description from Nintendo.com because it describes the game perfectly. Here we go. Each player is given the same time stage, but you must defeat enemies to earn extra time and attack your opponents. Don't forget to pick up some coins on your way. They can be used to get in-game items like power-ups. With speed, skill, and strategy, you could be the last Mario standing. This game looks like an absolute blast, and if you're a Nintendo Switch Online member, you can play it when it releases on October 1st. On October 2nd, digitally only for $9.99, we have a game called Make a Killing. Make a Killing is a first-person survival horror game where you take on the role of a man named Cole who is looking for his lost brother. You will be running around very creepy environments trying to activate sacrificial pillars to progress the story. You can free or kill victims for ammo rewards or spend gold you find to buy ammo. There really is not a whole lot of info out there on this game, but it looks pretty good for a $10 game and sort of creepy too. If you're looking for a creepy first-person survival horror game on a budget, then check out Make a Killing when it releases on October 2nd. Again on October 2nd is a game called Birthday of Midnight, releasing digitally only for $4.99, making it another budget title in today's video. Birthday of Midnight is sort of a platforming golf game where you will navigate levels filled with obstacles such as spikes, saws, and other dangers in an effort to earn a perfect score in each level using the minimum number of strokes. Strokes. I'm sorry. Birthday of Midnight features over 70 levels and a beautiful piano soundtrack. This looks like a pretty fun and interesting game, and for $5 you probably can't go wrong with Birthday of Midnight when it releases on October 2nd. Next up on October 6th, releasing digitally and physically for $20.99 is Agatha Christie, The ABC Murders. Agatha Christie, The ABC Murders is a third-person adventure game based on the Agatha Christie novel. You will set out to examine crime scenes in different cities in the UK and perform cross-examinations and solve puzzles. You will need to acquire information and closely examine suspects, solve puzzles, gather clues, and make deductions as to who the murderer is. If you're looking for a cool third-person adventure murder mystery game, then Agatha Christie, The ABC Murders will be right up your alley when it releases on October 6th. Again, on October 6th, releasing digitally only for $15.99 is a game called Ninth Dawn 3. Ninth Dawn 3 is a huge open world 2D RPG. You'll be exploring dungeons, fighting over 270 monsters, finding tons of loot, treasure, and materials, leveling up your abilities, recruiting monsters to fight with you, and much more. There are over 300 weapons and over 550 pieces of armor and accessories. You can also collect 180 cards for the card game Feud, which you must play against NPCs in the world. There is so much to see and do in this 2D open world RPG, and it looks pretty damn cool. So get ready for a massive adventure when Ninth Dawn 3 releases on October 6th. Again on October 6th is Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 Grand Prix, releasing digitally and physically for $39.99. We have another entry in the Nickelodeon Kart Racers series, and it is better than ever. There are 30 playable characters across a slew of Nickelodeon shows, both old and new, and you can choose from 70 team members for your pit crew. As you win races and cups, you will unlock over 80 upgrades for your karts. The racing engine has been overhauled and there are 28 tracks and 2 arenas in the game. It also features local multiplayer for up to 4 players and online for up to 8. This looks like a pretty fun kart racer, and I like the idea of being able to race with some of my favorite Nickelodeon characters from when I was a kid. So get ready for some nostalgic kart racing fun when Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 Grand Prix releases on October 6th. Releasing on October 7th, digitally only for $9.99, is a game called Shmubedi Boo. That's right, Shmubedi Boo. Shmubedi Boo is a 2D platformer all about stopping an evil rabbit that has stolen all the apples from the city. You can't make this shit up. In this hectic platformer, you can play single player or local multiplayer with up to 4 people. There are over 100 levels filled with monsters, traps, and bonuses, and there are 5 different bosses. You have 7 different heroes to choose from, and you can spend your apples to buy power-ups or hats. I like cheap little 2D platformers like this, and Shmubedi Boo looks pretty fun, and you can grab some friends and try it out when it releases on October 7th. On October 8th, releasing digitally only for $19.99, is a game called Falcon Age. Falcon Age is a first-person action-adventure game where you will bond with and raise a falcon throughout the course of your adventure. You will name, feed, pet, teach, and customize your falcon in many ways, such as crafting snacks to buff and heal your falcon, and you can take your falcon on hunts for materials and outfitting your falcon with hats, scarves, and equipment that impact gameplay. You and your falcon will fight robots in an effort to reclaim the colony and rebuild the community. Falcon Age is a pretty cool-looking first-person adventure game that might be worth trying out when it releases on October 8th. Yet again, on October 8th, releasing digitally only for $14.99, is a game called Adventures of Chris, and this is a bizarre one. Adventures of Chris is a goofy-ass 2D platformer inspired by the 90s where you take on the role of a fat kid named Chris with strange superpowers. There are 9 different locations to explore that you can tackle in any order, and throughout the adventure you will upgrade Chris with new special moves and abilities, as well as purchase and learn new spells and other techniques. There are a ton of platforming challenges, and you'll be able to float around the levels as well. You'll be fighting a ton of crazy enemies like samurai cats and cyborg penguins. There are 2 different game modes, a ton of difficulty settings, and a bunch of unlockable content. This looks like a pretty damn cool and funny 2D platformer, and you can give this game a try when Adventures of Chris releases on October 8th. Next up on October 8th, releasing digitally only for $9.99, is a game called Puddle Knights. Puddle Knights is a unique mud-based puzzle game where you have to move your cape around to cover up puddles and other dangers for the nobles. Puddle Knights features over 100 levels for 10 to 35 hours of gameplay, no time limit, an undo and reset function, the ability to tear up your cape, hold down bridges, and other moves. Puddle Knights looks like a pretty unique and interesting little puzzle game, and you can check it out when it releases on October 8th. Again on October 8th, releasing digitally only for $7.99, is a game called Torntales Rebound Edition. Torntales Rebound Edition is a hack-and-slash squad-based action RPG where you take on the role of Robin Hood, Snow White, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You will control the 3 heroes, each with their own unique skills, in real time as you explore locations from legendary folktales. There is a huge skill tree to work through with each character and thousands of lootable items and gear to find. You can swap between each character mid-battle, and there's also an endless arena mode to play. So get ready for budget Diablo when Torntales Rebound Edition releases on October 8th. Again, on October 8th, releasing digitally only for $14.99 is a game called Game Dev Tycoon. Game Dev Tycoon has been around for a while, and it is finally coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is a game development simulation that has been optimized for the Nintendo Switch to take advantage of the unique control options. You will start as a small studio and work your way up to a large game development company, and throughout the journey you will try to hire the best team, create the best games, and research the coolest technology. There are a ton of options in this sim enabling you to build your game company and games how you want to build them. Now, I've not played a Tycoon game in a long time, but I have to admit, Game Dev Tycoon has my attention, and I'll probably check it out when it releases on October 8th. Yet again on October 8th, releasing digitally only for $19.99 is a very unique game called I Am Dead. I Am Dead is an incredibly unique puzzle adventure game where you are in the afterlife interacting with other ghosts in an effort to stop the volcano on the island you lived on from erupting. You will be exploring and going into the minds of other ghosts to see their memories and what objects meant something to them, and you then have to locate those objects. The gameplay here is a bit hard to explain, so I recommend watching the 4-minute gameplay walkthrough video from the developers that I will leave in the sources below. I Am Dead looks like a super unique puzzle game, and I'm actually pretty damn intrigued about it, and I can't wait to play it when it releases on October 8th. And finally, on October 8th, releasing digitally only for $12.99 is a game called WarriOrb. WarriOrb is an action platformer where you play as a demon trapped in a ball body. A ball body? You will bounce and roll your way through the adventure as you avoid traps, solve puzzles, and fight enemies and bosses. I like the looks of this game, and it looks pretty damn hard as well, as the trailer shows you dying a lot. So get ready for a challenging platformer with a badass presentation when WarriOrb releases on October 8th. On October 9th, releasing digitally and physically for $39.99 is a game called Ben 10 Power Trip. Ben 10 Power Trip is a 3D action-adventure platformer where you take on the role of Ben 10 to stop the evil Hex's curse of Europe. You have the ability to transform into several different alien forms, all of which can be upgraded, and you will adventure and fight enemies while also solving puzzles. You can also play the entire game local split-screen co-op, which is a nice touch. Don't let the fact that this is a licensed game fool you. Ben 10 Power Trip looks like a pretty damn high quality and fun game, and you and a friend or family member can play it together when it releases on October 9th. Next up on October 9th, releasing digitally for $24.99 or physically for $39.99 is The Survivalists. The Survivalists is a new game from the developers of The Escapists 1 and 2, and this is a much different game as you're stuck on an island and have to survive. The Survivalists can be played with up to 4 players, so you can survive together. Some of the features of the Survivalists include a day-night cycle, quests, hunting for food and enemies, exploring several different biomes, finding loot, trading, taming and training monkeys to build for you, and using your resources to craft several different things to help you survive. There are labyrinths around the island for you to explore and get plenty of loot in. The Survivalist is bound to be an amazing game, and I really love the amazing art style, and I'm more than likely going to pick this game up physically when it releases on October 9th. Next up on October 13th, we are getting 2 re-releases of an older game, and that is Prinny, Can I Really Be a Hero, and Prinny, Dawn of Operation Panties. And these games are both releasing separately digitally for $19.99 each, or you can get them physically together in a collector's edition with a lot of extras for $59.99. Originally released on the PlayStation Portable, otherwise known as the PSP, Prinny 1 and 2 are coming back to the Nintendo Switch in one epic package, or of course purchase separately. A Prinny is a character from the popular Disgaea series, and these games are from the same developers, and I have to say, these games look pretty damn fun. They are insane 2D platforming beat-em-up games that are super over the top. The original PSP versions got pretty good reviews, which is a plus. You can play these re-released 2D action games when Prinny 1 and Prinny 2 releases on October 13th. Also on October 13th, releasing digitally and physically for $39.99 is a game I'm very excited for because we have not had a game in this series in quite some time, and that is G.I. Joe Operation Blackout. G.I. Joe Operation Blackout is a third-person shooter where you get to experience an epic campaign from both the Team G.I. Joe and Team Cobra side as you take on one of 12 different characters from both sides across 17 different story missions. There are 18 different weapons, 36 weapon skills, and 12 alternate character skills. You can play the campaign locally co-op. There's also a 4-player local PvP mode with 4 different modes contained within that. This looks like it might be the first good G.I. Joe game in a long time, and I have to admit, that's pretty exciting. So get ready for some nostalgia when G.I. Joe Operation Blackout releases on October 13th. On October 14th, releasing digitally only for $21.99 is a game Vigil, The Longest Night is a 2D action RPG that has very technical and precise combat, and it was inspired by Salt and Sanctuary in Castlevania, and it's a very challenging game. There are 4 different weapon types with many varieties, a ton of unique items, a complicated skill tree, a dark and awesome art style, several difficult enemies with multiple attacks, a large world to explore, a ton of bosses, multiple endings, and a fantastic original soundtrack. This game looks so badass, and it really does remind me of games like Salt and Sanctuary and Blasphemous, and that is awesome. I have my eyes on Vigil, The Longest Night, and I can't wait to check it out when it releases on October 17th. Next up on October 15th, releasing digitally only for $29.99 is Jackbox Party Pack 7. Jackbox is back again with 5 new party games to enjoy with friends and family. The new party games include 3 full Quick Flash, say that 10 times fast, 3 full Quick Flash. Yeah, I challenge you all watching right now to say 3 full Quick Flash 10 times fast. If you can do it, film yourself doing it and post it on social media and tag me, because I'd like to see that. The Devil's in the Details, Champed Up, Talking Points, and Blather Around. Just like any Jackbox game, you can play with tablets, smartphones, or computers so that anyone can join the fun without the need for a bunch of controllers. Now, I buy literally every Jackbox party pack that is released because they're just so much fun with a group, and you can even play them with people that do not like or play video games. So grab a group of friends and some drinks and get ready for a bunch of laughs when Jackbox Party Pack 7 releases on October 15th. Also on October 15th, releasing digitally only for $24.99, and there's also a demo available, and that game is Hardcore Mecha. Hardcore Mecha is a 2D action platforming mech game that also sort of has a twin-stick aiming mechanic. It features an epic campaign mode with over 40 minutes of animated and fully voice-acted cutscenes, and as you play through the adventure, you will unlock up to 42 mechs as well as upgrade and acquire new skills. There's also a survival simulation mode and a multiplayer PvP mode for up to 4 players locally. Hardcore Mech looks like a pretty solid and action-packed 2D mech game that you can dig into when it releases on October 15th. Next up on October 16th, releasing digitally only for $9.99 is a game called Postal Redux. Postal is a game that has been around since the late 90s, and the Switch is getting the remastered version of this classic badass twin-stick shooter. The campaign features 17 levels across a variety of locations as you fight insane enemies with 10 different weapons at your disposal. It also features all the add-on content, which brings the total level count to 23. There's a rampage mode where you try to get a high score through kill streaks. Now, I've never played Postal, but it looks like so much fun, and this is a game that, due to its history, I hope it gets a physical release at some point. So prepare for some insane twin-stick shooter action when Postal Redux releases on October 16th. Next up on October 16th, releasing digitally for $29.99 is 9 Monkeys of Shaolin. 9 Monkeys of Shaolin is a badass-looking beat-em-up game where you take on the role of a fisherman that sets out to get revenge for the death of his friends and family. You will grab your staff and partake in some epic beat-em-up action across 25 different levels in a variety of cool locations, and you can play the entire adventure co-op as well. As you play, you will unlock perks, items, and new fighting styles. 9 Monkeys of Shaolin looks like a pretty solid beat-em-up game, and you can check it out when it releases on October 16th. Next up on October 23rd, releasing digitally and physically for $39.99 is a game called Transformers Battlegrounds. A new Transformers game is in the house and it looks awesome. Transformers Battlegrounds is a tactical turn-based battle game with gameplay that really reminds me of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and that is not a bad thing at all. You will command a squad consisting of Autobots like Bumblebee and Optimus Prime as you take part in battles where you have to plan carefully, use cover and the environment to your advantage, and unleash powerful attacks to destroy your opponents. There are 3 different difficulties, and the game also features a 2-player local multiplayer mode to have fun with as well. If you're a Transformers fan or a fan of games like this, or hell, even both, then you're in for a treat when Transformers Battlegrounds releases on October 23rd. Also on October 23rd, releasing digitally for $19.99 or physically for $29.99 is a game called Supermarket Shriek. Supermarket Shriek is a literal kart racer where a man and a goat are in a grocery cart together racing around insane physics-based stages. You will race around in shops and supermarkets trying to dodge insane obstacles throughout 38 stages, and there are a variety of other modes as well. The game also features co-op and PvP party modes for 2 to 4 players locally. You can also customize your characters with over 50 different customization options. Supermarket Shriek looks silly and zany and also a ton of fun, and I cannot wait to play it when it releases on October 23rd. And last but certainly not least, releasing on October 30th digitally and physically for $59.99 is Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Pikmin 3 from the Wii U is back and better than ever on the Switch in the Deluxe version. You will be controlling 5 different kinds of Pikmin to defeat creatures, overcome obstacles, and gather food. You can even play co-op to divide and conquer, and there are a ton of accessibility options as well. This Deluxe version contains all DLC stages, co-op, as well as a head-to-head competitive mode. I've actually never played Pikmin 3, so I'm pretty excited to check out the Deluxe version when it releases on October 30th. Well, there you have it, folks, a shit ton of awesome looking games coming out for the Nintendo Switch in October 2020. Now, inevitably, after I make this video, there will be even more games announced and released on the Switch eShop and physically that unfortunately I didn't know about before making this video. That's just one of the downsides of how I do this format, but hey, more games is never a bad thing. The games that are coming out in October that I'm most excited for are Ys Origin, Super Mario Bros. 35, Game Dev Tycoon, I Am Dev, The Survivalists, Prinny 1 and Prinny 2, G.I. Joe Operation Blackout, Vigil The Longest Night, Jackbox Party Pack 7, Postal Redux, Transformers Battlegrounds, Supermarket Shriek, and Pikmin 3 Deluxe. So as you can see, there's a lot of games coming in October that I'm pretty pumped for, but I want to know in the comments down below what games coming out in October for the Switch you're most excited for. Throw that in the comments down below. Also, let me know in the comments down below if I missed any games coming out in October that I should have included in today's video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you're new here, so consider subscribing so that you can join the RetroWolf family. And as always, folks, stay safe out there, keep playing games and having a good time, and I'll see you all in the next video. Later.